had a couple of great weeks off with the girls, done some really cool things, been on lots of bike rides, and just chilled out as well. Um, and even went to see Taylor Swift. If you follow my Facebook page, you might have seen that. What an experience that was, just fantastic. Now, back to work now, um, and things are getting busy council wise as well, with lots going on in the community. And this video update will just highlight some of those things. Who would have thought that a litter bin, could cause me so much trouble over my holiday period? But the litter bin at Mytchett Lake Bridge, just by on the Basingstoke Canal there, has been a flipping thorn in my side, to be honest, because quite a number of residents had reported this particular bin to me, and how litter had been building up all around the bin because it was overflowing, and people were just, even though they could see the bin was completely full and bursting at the seams, were still just chucking their dog bags and rubbish all around the base of the bin, which was a bit concerning. And even more concerning, that some of those dog bags had found their way actually into the canal. And we obviously can't have that. So anyway, I contacted the Canal Authority because I couldn't remember. I know this has come up in the past, but I just couldn't remember who was responsible for the bin. I did think that it might be the Canal Authority. In any case, I emailed the Canal Authority and asked them to get it taken care of. In turn, they emailed Surrey Heath Borough Council, and confirmed to me as well that they thought it was Surrey Heath Borough Council that was responsible for the bin, and it was they who had installed it. But then the bin was emptied, which is great, within a day or so of reporting it, and that was great how that was responded to so quickly. However, Surrey Heath Borough Council contacted me. I wouldn't say they were rude, but they were a little bit miffed, let's say, that I'd said that it was them that was responsible for the bin, when it turns out it's actually the MOD. Now, to be fair, Surrey Heath Borough Council are responsible for most of the other overflowing bins around the borough, and there's plenty of them. But it is only right that I did promise them that I would correct it, that it's not them, it's not Surrey Heath Borough Council that are responsible for that particular bin. It is indeed the MOD. That's a concern to me, because the MOD have a department called the DIO, the Defence Infrastructure Organisation, who will be the ones responsible for commissioning contractors to deal with that type of thing. And anyone who follows my Facebook page will know my views about the DIO, who, to my mind, are the most dysfunctional department within government. They're very slow to react to things, if they ever react at all, and they just cause me lots of problems locally. That said, after 12 years of being a councillor, I managed to get a point of contact within the DIO, who is quite responsive, although it might take them ages to deal with a particular problem, they do respond to me quite quickly now. So I will be contacting them about that particular bin, and also talking to the Canal Authority, because the Canal Authority have actually said to me that they are concerned about that bin, especially with some of the contaminated waste ending up in the canal, which is very dangerous to the local environment. And that's something that obviously we can't have. So the Canal Authority could insist, if they wanted to, that the MOD remove that bin. That would be a real shame, and I really don't want that to happen. But what we need to really do is raise awareness about that bin, and other bins for that matter in the borough. If you see a bin that is full, that is quite clearly full and can't take any more rubbish, don't just chuck your litter or your dog bags at the base of the bin expecting someone will pick it up. Either find another bin to place your rubbish or dog bags, or take it home with you. I know that most people do that, and it is only a minority of people who spoil it for the majority, but it is, we do run the very real danger of that bin being taken away. And no matter how much people shout and scream at me, I won't be able to stop it. The only way that we are going to keep that bin at that location is by people acting more responsible with their litter and dog bags. If it is full, find another bin or take it home. It really is as simple as that, and I will keep residents updated as to my progress with this particular issue. Still in Mytchett, I just want to thank the Potter organisation for responding so positively to my request to have the berm, that dirt berm that was installed behind the bollards, move back a bit. So they basically cut some of that away to make that pedestrian area more wider and accessible. And they've now done that, and I'm really happy that they responded so positively. I cannot fault the Potter organisation for their help with, first of all, cutting the vegetation back, which they did several weeks ago, and now as I cycle past, they've responded to my request to move that back, that dirt back. So thank you to them. That's one ticked off the list of the things that needed doing locally. I will have to keep an eye on that location about the way people park, and I will be writing to, I haven't got around to doing it yet, but I will be writing to residents that live near that location, asking them, or certainly appealing to their better natures, to ask their visitors not to park on the pavements or obstruct that pavement. Because what happens is if you're a wheelchair user, a blind resident, of which one I saw this morning, literally walking past that location this morning, so if you're disabled, you're in a wheelchair, mobility scooter, or if you're a parent pushing a pushchair child to school or whatever it may be, we don't want to be forcing them into that busy main road. That footpath is there for pedestrians, and if it's blocked by vehicles, whatever they may be, and I know people don't park there intentionally to cause people problems, but it does if you park your vehicle there at any time of the day for that matter, because Mytchett does have a high proportion of elderly residents, people with mobility issues, and that type of thing. So it's really important that we keep that area clear. So thank you to all local residents for your cooperation with that, and hopefully that this is one matter that is now resolved. Still in Mytchett, and another issue that is resolved, I'm pleased to report, is the Glenmount Road bus shelter. The bus shelter is actually on Mytchett Road, but it's at the junction of Glenmount Road. And the bus shelter was destroyed by a bus, rather concerningly, that hit it. And it was quite some time ago now. It might have even been 2 years ago, or certainly not far off. But there were some issues around the local authority claiming off the bus company's insurance, and there was all sorts of problems. They had to have a bus shelter made again by the same company that had made the previous one. And of course, installing it is not straightforward because it has to have power for the passenger information board and that sort of thing. So it's taken quite a long time to resolve this issue. And I've been going quite a lot backwards and forwards with the passenger transport group at Surrey County Council, who have done a great job actually in liaising with the bus company and the company that made the shelter, and contractors getting it installed, which they had to get a license to operate on the highway as well to achieve that. But it's in now, I'm really pleased to say. There isn't a passenger information board on there. I'm going to find out about that. It might just be that they're waiting for that piece of technology to be delivered or whatever it may be, and that's why it's not there yet. And I do know that that bus shelter is wired up for a passenger information board, real-time information board, I think they call them. But yeah, I'll find out what's going on with that. But hopefully that will be installed in due course. But there's another one off the list, thankfully. And really pleased that that's in time for the winter when the weather's awful, and that people using the bus service there will at least get some shelter, hopefully, from the rain as a result of that. I'm a user of the buses. I use the buses quite a lot these days, and I have to say there's nothing worse waiting for a bus when it's tipping it down with rain. So yeah, really pleased that that's now that piece of infrastructure is now in place. We're in Deepcut now, and I'm going to talk about an issue, another long-standing issue that involves Bellew Road and Blackdown Road and the state of those roads. Now, what's unusual about Bellew and Blackdown Road is that they're not in control by the Highway Authority. They're actually owned partly by the MOD and partly by the residents down there. And the MOD and the residents there have joint responsibility to maintain the roads. However, they are publicly accessible. There's a lot of construction traffic going through there and other traffic, and all contributing to the wear and tear of those roads. And residents there, understandably, feel aggrieved that there's no sort of firm plans to bring that road up to a better standard. And I understand those residents' concerns. There were some plans being discussed by the developer of Mindenhurst and the local authority about putting in some measures there with turning circles and all the rest of it, and that is in doubt at the moment. So I do have a meeting very soon with highways planners to look at what we might be able to do with Bellew Road and Blackdown Road. I know it's a concern to residents down there. There's all sorts of safety elements to that. So there's mega potholes there that just are completely not being dealt with by anybody because no one's taking responsibility for them. There's a huge amount of delamination on the road. The area attracts fly tipping, a lot of fly tipping actually. And if there's ever any issues, no matter what those issues are. So for instance, today when I cycled up there, there was an overhanging branch to do with a broken tree just overhanging the road. And who's going to deal with that? Well, the MOD are responsible for that particular part of the road. And we know that the MOD are absolutely awful at dealing with their responsibilities. And residents are often left to pick up the pieces. So I'm going to meet with a highways planning officer very soon. That's in the diary scheduled, and I will keep residents updated as to progress with that. But we do need to find a long-term solution for Blackdown and Bellew Road and give residents down there a bit of peace of mind. So like I say, I will keep residents updated as to my progress with that. So still in Deepcut and very close to Bellew Road is the structure there that has appeared. It's been there for quite a while anyway, and quite a few residents have asked me what it is when they've been out walking their dog or whatever, and they've spotted this structure. They're just curious as to what it is. And actually, if you do look closely, if you're walking by that structure, there is a sign that gives a clue, but it's only a very small sign and easily missed. But basically, the structure is a bat barn. Quite a few residents are surprised when I tell them that we have quite a large bat population in Deachcut. And as a result of the sort of environmental mitigation measures for the Mindenhurst development, they've erected a bat barn because it's a former barracks, and they've been there a long time, and the works have or will displace some of the bat population. So they've put that structure there as a mitigation measure. There are actually two other bat barns in Deepcut that people might not be aware of, and they're at the front of the Dettingen Park development, one at the north end and another at the southern end of Dettingen Park, right at the front of the development there by Deepcut Bridge Road. And I have been inside those. I'm lucky enough to have been inside both of those bat barns, and I have seen bats in there hibernating, and it's quite a thing to see. So yeah, that's what that structure is. Their back barn. It's a back barn, and it's there to you know somewhere for the bats to live and hibernate in the winter. I actually saw a bat in my back garden a few nights ago, flying around. Um, there will be some residents in Deepcut that inevitably will have bats in their lofts. So they are a species that populate Deepcut. I'm pleased to say. Just goes to show you what a diverse place Deepcut is, that we have our own bat population. And there are actually quite a lot of other areas in Surrey that also have bats. But if you're ever walking near the Old Sergeant's Mess in Deepcut, just off Bellew Road, you may see a wooden structure there on stilts, and it's a bat barn. Since recording the segment about the bat barns in Deepcut, I bumped into Nikki at the Skanska head office. Now, Nikki runs all the sort of comms and community engagement for Skanska. And we got talking about the bat barns, and she said, "Oh, there's a great event that they're holding in conjunction with the Surrey Wildlife Trust called the Bat Walk, and that's going to be on Tuesday, the 28th of August, on the night of." And I do mean the night, so it'll be at 8:45, just as the sun goes down and all the rest of it. And you'll be able to walk with somebody from the Surrey Wildlife Trust who will be an expert on bats, and walk around the Central Sangs. And you should see bats, and you should see, or definitely you should hear them as you walk through the Central Sang, and get expert, commentary from Surrey Wildlife Trust. Now, I'm really hoping to attend that event because I think that's going to be really interesting. And I hope to see residents there. So that's Tuesday, the 28th of August at 8:45, meeting at the Sang car park in the Central Sangs in Deepcut by the hut there, 8:45. And it should be a lot of fun. Still in Deepcut, there's been a bit of an issue raised by a local resident, or actually by a number of local residents, to do with the bus stop opposite Wood End Road on Deepcut Bridge Road. And it's not in great shape, basically. The bus shelter there looks battered, old, and certainly not in keeping with a new environment which is being installed right now by Skanska, the developer. So I've looked into that, and I've had a response, and I'm going to read it out just so that people understand what the situation is. So basically, Skanska relocated the shelter as required by the approved drawings, but did it without agreeing the detail with the owner, Clear Channel. Now, Clear Channel weren't blameless, as they haven't always been very responsive. Now that it has been moved, Clear Channel have condemned the shelter, saying it's no longer fit for purpose, which Skanska dispute. Skanska have recently met with Clear Channel and now awaiting a quote from Clear Channel. That quote may either be replaced with a new or refurbished shelter. If the latter, or even if the existing can still be used, the officer at Surrey County Council has asked that the shelter be fully cleaned and refurbished and painted black to match the new lamppost columns. We also need to ensure that it remains to have the necessary electrical supply and fixings for the lighting and real-time information boards. Now, I'm not actually sure, if I'm honest, what the relationship of Clear Channel is. I know they're an advertising company. I'm not sure why they own the bus shelter. It might be that there was some deal done in the past with Surrey County Council and this advertising agency. That I don't know what the deal may have been. It might have been that they provided a free bus shelter and allow advertising on there. I've no idea what the deal is, what the relationship is. I'm going to look into that a bit deeper, but it does look as though the passenger transport group, or certainly the highways planners, this is on their radar, and they are in the process of, let's say, facilitating the discussions to make sure that the right outcome happens. So I'll keep residents updated on that, but hopefully that will be resolved pretty soon. Now, I promised an update on the green swathe in Deepcut, and that the green swathe is a open green space, recreation space, that should be publicly accessible, but right now is not because of a legal dispute between the developer Skanska and the planning authority Surrey Heath Borough Council. Now, I've now had a chance to meet with Skanska, and they've given me their side of the story. I've heard what the council have got to say. And it does seem, to be honest with you, to be more that it's the under-resourcing of the planning team responsible for Mindenhurst at Surrey Heath Borough Council. The fact that it's under-resourced means that, you know, they're very slow to deal with stuff. But also, they have a funny habit of moving the goalposts a lot. And that slows things down too. Now, Skanska are not completely blameless when it comes to delays on things, but in this particular issue on the green swathe, I think it really, Surrey Heath Borough Council needs to start upping its game and start acting in the best interests of local residents and getting that space open. When it comes to areas of responsibility for Surrey County Council, as the county councillor for this area, it's quite right that I'm held to account on anything. When it goes wrong, I don't know, potholes, grass verges, you know, we've had our fair share of issues, and it's quite right that I'm held to account on that as the locally elected representative. But now's the time for the borough councillors for Mytchett and Deachcut to also be held to account on this issue of the green swathe. It's within your gift, within your power to get this sorted out and challenge officers at Surrey Heath Borough Council to get this matter resolved in the best interests of everybody. There's three of you: Councillor David Whitcroft, Morgan Rise, and what's the other one called? He's never seen in Deach or Mytchett for that matter. Cliff Betton. I'm calling on the three of you to get into that planning team and start banging some heads and getting this matter resolved, right? This has gone on for long enough. Now, I am aware that there are some productive conversations going on, but I want you three, on behalf of local residents, to start facilitating action and getting that green swathe open. So that's my update for this week. And as always, if you have any local issues that you want to discuss with me, just drop me an email to paul.deach, that's DEACH, at surreycc.gov.uk.